Good evening, Tabaquit. Good evening, Tabaquit. Let me first say thanks to all the powerful speakers who came before me. Let us thank Councillor Jenali, Councillor Lizama for chairing these proceedings. I want to thank Chairman Awong, MP Arnold Ram, MP Barry Padarat, MP Rodney Charles, and of course your own Member of Parliament, Anita Haynes. Thank you all very much. I want to give you my own appreciation, each and every one of you present here tonight, and for those listening on the various platforms, welcome to this Monday night report. You know, but there's something we must acknowledge here in Tabaquit. I want to say a special hello and thank you to the 11,440 winners who voted for the UNC and MP Anita Haynes. You are very special. You form part of a very distinguished group of over 309,000 persons, winners, who voted for the UNC in the last election. Did you know in 2020, the UNC received more votes in Trinidad in the seats we contested than the PNM winners all? We got 309,654 votes. The PNM got 305,850. We were winners in Trinidad and Tobago across the land. So let's not forget that. We must remind ourselves we have been winners. Let me take a moment to say a special good night to a former Member of Parliament for Tabaquit, Dr. Suraj Rambachan, for the job that he did here in this constituency. Thank you, Dr. Rambachan. And as the other speakers have said, you know, they talk. I love the line used by Chairman Awong, which he said he took from Councillor Hazari, is that their video is not syncing with their audio. So they talk the talk, but do not walk the walk. In Tabaquit, we have proud winners, and we have done well and delivered for the people of Tabaquit. Thousands of wins here in Tabaquit. Recreation grounds, pavilions, Charles Street South, Lumsden Street, Surprise, Lightbourne Road, Monroche, Puna, Springvale, Springlands, Tortuga, Brothers Road, Tabaquit, pavilions and grounds. We must remember, you know, because they want you to forget. We must remember greenhouses were installed at Tabaquit Secondary School, Gasparillo Secondary School, Springvale Hindu School, Tabaquit RC School. We completed a Brasso police station in this constituency, yes? And you know it, they closed it down. Wicked people, wicked people. The Whiteland Empowerment Center was opened and made fully functional. That includes a homework center, mediation center, music and dance training academy. The Upper Coruscant Youth and Homework Center was constructed, outfitted with furniture and computers. Did they close that down too? The Whiteland Police Youth Club was established. Play parks were established in Brothers Road, Charles Street South, Gasparillo, Lightbourne Recreation Ground, and of course Tabaquit. The Springvale and Macaulay Community Centers, as well as the Tabaquit Community Center, were fully refurbished and air-conditioned. The Riverdale Presbyterian School was rebuilt. The Tabaquit Early Childhood Center building was refurbished. Numerous roads and landslips were repaired. The PNM has done now no maintenance in the infrastructure here and in the rest of the country. But you know what? The delivery, so much more than time will give me to permit me, but you live in the constituency and you know. And so when you put us back into government, we will continue that track record of delivery. Now, I received a WhatsApp a little earlier today, and this is an issue that touches and concerns every person in our country. Two bandits, armed with a gun, cutlass, and a baton staged a violent home invasion in Penal early Monday, that's today, this morning, in Penal, Suchi Trace, I believe it was. 2 male victims were badly beaten with a baton and gun. They demanded cash and valuables and so on. The incident happened around 1:45 a.m. today at Railway Line Road, Suchi Trace, Derby, at their home. UNC UTT News understands that the 4 victims had just returned to their home after attending a family gathering at another residence when they were approached by the masked suspects. One armed with a gun, the other had a black baton and a cutlass. Both suspects announced a robbery and they proceeded to beat them and demand their valuables. They also made threats to kill the 29-year-old man and his 18-year-old son if they did not pass the money. This was a market vendor, took his cash and so on and escaped. The cutlass was recovered at the scene by the police after the incident. Now, listen to this. This is just one. The home invasions have increased under this wicked, corrupt, and incompetent government. And what are we to do? What are their plans to deal with the murder spiraling out of control? Our mothers and daughters being brutally murdered, our sons being brutally murdered, wiped out before the prime of their time. This government, in collusion with some members of the police service, are pursuing a foolish attack on legal firearm holders. They're falling and failing at protecting citizens, but they don't want citizens to protect themselves. They don't want you to protect yourselves and your family. They seem to be on the side of the criminal elements. They don't want to give you the laws to protect yourself and your families, to defend yourselves in your homes, to give you legal firearms to protect your family. The most distasteful fact of all of this is that all of them, every man jack and woman jack in that government, they have armed security personnel 24/7. So why are they denying law-abiding citizens the right to apply to get a firearm legally? Why? You have to ask yourself that, because as you said, they're happy. They're sitting at the top of the tower, and to hell with the rest of us. They don't care about you. They're riding all over in bulletproof vehicles with bulletproof vests. I say to you that current self-defense laws are not adequate. They are not enough. I respectfully say that we cannot leave the determination of what is a clear and transparent application of self-defense law to the subjectivity of an individual policeman. We can't do that. Individual prosecutor. We have seen where rogue police officers are extorting citizens. Remember the recent case? Extorting, they come into you, extortion. If you don't pay them extortion money, they will do for you. Imagine you defend your family, and every month some rogue police officer is coming to extort money under the threat to prosecute you, because it's up to his discretion. And everyone here knows this happens all over this country. They're excellent, good police officers, but there are also rogue elements in the police service. Let me repeat and emphasize a quote from a recent newspaper article. In too many instances where force is used by a homeowner to repel what was plainly and obviously a grave and imminent attack, the homeowner is treated as a criminal by the police. So the UNC's position on this, what we have called your stand your ground laws, will be to eliminate this constant threat by any rogue or corrupt officers. We will give the homeowner the legal power to protect your family without doubt or fear of extortion. We will make legal gun ownership easier. The people who are against stand your ground laws and legal gun ownership, I say to you, that is your choice. It's simple. You don't want a legal firearm, don't apply. But those who want it must have that right to apply and to be fairly considered and given legal firearms. In the same way, someone invades your home, man, I will ask every male person here, because first the male is the macho. The male is the defender of the home. You're a father or a brother in a home, a grandfather, and these people come to invade your home. What are you going to do? Rowley told some cock and bull story about 20 years ago. Somebody come with a knife and he tackled him with his bare hand and the man run. But Rowley, you have 24/7 armed security taking care of you. What does a father do? What does a husband do when these bandits invade your home at any hour of the day, any hour of the night? The UNC says we will change the law to give you stand your ground laws to protect you in your homes. We must allow people the right to defend themselves and not leave it up, as I say, to those who may want to extort you. It is very clear to me, I think to all of us, that this government has abandoned innocent, law-abiding citizens. They have left you to the mercy of armed criminals. But I give you the assurance, never fear, the UNC and Kamala is here. And we will not abandon you. We will not abandon you. This government is intent on attacking and persecuting law-abiding people whilst not dealing with the rampant criminality we are witnessing through the length and breadth of our country. I want to make a special plea tonight. I think the time has long passed for us to integrate law-abiding Venezuelan migrants. Anita told me when she was walking around with her team recently that people are asking, what about our children? We are law-abiding, what are you doing to help us? And tonight I make a call for government to integrate law-abiding Venezuelan migrants. Let me tell you why. During the past 3 years, many Venezuelans, as we call them, they have obtained gainful employment. Some have started their own small businesses. Many have married our citizens. Many have born children. These children, according to our law, are now citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Why? Because they have been born here. So when you're discriminating, you're also discriminating against your own children, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Unfortunately, many of these migrants and their children are subject to exploitation, discrimination, denigration, simply because of their status and their presence here. In order, they came here to seek a better life, to escape poverty, persecution, and violence from their own homeland. We are very disappointed that government has not yet seen it fit to honor our international obligations under the 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees. I know Ronnie Charles has been very vocal on this matter. They will not deal with that international obligation under the 1967 Protocol relating to refugees, nor the 1951 Convention relating to refugees. What do they do instead? Instead, this government implemented a haphazard policy in 2020, and they recklessly failed to follow with any supporting program. You ask me, why do I plead for these Venezuelans and for their children? I plead for children. A child is not responsible for where they are. I plead for the children. And those children, some of them, as I say, were born here. So they are our children as well. And they are not responsible for where they have found themselves. Due to the temporary and unpredictable status, the majority of the migrants have been denied access to banking facilities. They have been denied elective medical treatment at public institutions. They have been denied recognition of their educational qualifications. What is even more disheartening is that their children cannot be enrolled in public schools. You know, if trainees and when trainees, we've gone so many places, migrated to England. Many went as a not properly visaed to Canada, to England, to the US, and their children, were they denied a place in a school? No. No, that is not the protocol for refugees. There was a time in this government, there were so many people under a previous government, people were fleeing Trinidad and Tobago in the droves as refugees to Canada, to the US, and to the United Kingdom. We are saying all children, whatever their status, they have a right to education. This government is denying thousands of migrant children an education in our country. How inhumane can this government be? But of course they are, because they deny our own children, as Anita would tell you, that right to basic facilities for education at the schools, for the laptops or the textbooks, and all the other things that you need for a proper education. You know, migrants cannot obtain a driver's permit after 3 years. You know, if I had a driver's permit here, and I go somewhere else, you know, I could use that drive. There's a way you register that permit in another country and you're allowed to drive. Am I correct? Yes. If I go to Barbados tomorrow, I'm not planning to go, but if I do go, we can do that. They cannot register for national insurance. They cannot tell employers that it's okay to hire them because their migrant permits have expired. Their academic qualifications are not being recognized. They're unbanked. They're vulnerable to exploitation. You know, they cannot go to court to declare that they have a legitimate expectation to a renewal. By the time that case is heard, it will be 19 years later. Our public primary healthcare system is apparently open to them. But how effective can that be when the medical staff cannot speak or understand Spanish? They can't, so how are you going to even help them? Some Benis have had children, as I say, in this country, but they're afraid to go to register the births. Why? Because they're afraid of the authorities. Some want to get married, but again, they're afraid to interface with the authorities. So what do I do tonight? In the face of all of this, I call one, for government to relieve the suffering of the migrants and their children. Allow those who are law-abiding and contributing to our economy to be fully integrated into our society. Two, to regularize those who hold migrant cards and have no police record. To allow the children to attend our schools to educate themselves. To allow the migrants, the ones with the card holders, to be allowed to apply for driver's permits. To allow part of the medical staff, if not all, some, I know Dr. Rishi will agree with me, should be able to basic Spanish and to be able to speak with them, to allow them medical care. And of course, with all of that should also come to allow Venice migrants to pay all applicable taxes to Trinidad and Tobago. Why are you giving them tax-free? So if you want to integrate them, pay your tax, pay your NIS, as every other person in this country does. The time has come for us to treat all of our brothers and sisters who have come here from Venezuela like fellow human beings, deserving of respect and of equal opportunity. I want to talk to you about another matter. Dictators like Rowley, they hate accountability. They hate accountability. And so tonight, I will not repeat, I know MP Ram spoke of certain matters in the Brent Thomas matter. I know others spoke on the matter, so I will not repeat those because those points are made. I will take it on a different angle. I want to address the very serious breach of law which occurred when a Trinidad and Tobago private citizen was abducted in Barbados. He was put in a cage, he was handcuffed, he was forcibly brought back to Trinidad via a CARICOM plane. I want to read from the very first paragraph of the submission of the defendant. And you know who is the defendant? The Attorney General. Is the defendant in the case, Brent Thomas and others, versus the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago. I have it here, we can put it up on the screen there, is it? This is a judgment of the High Court in that matter. And the very first paragraph, is that better? Watch the screen. This will be too small for some of us to see it properly. Very first paragraph, here's what it says. We wish to state, this is from the Attorney General in the court on this matter. We wish to state from the outset that the defendant concedes, that is the AG concedes, that the return of the claimant, who is Brent, to TNT by officers of the TTPS without regard to the extradition process provided for by the Extradition, Commonwealth and Foreign Territories Act, Chapter 1204, is unlawful. Rodney Charles spoke about that earlier. The goodly professor that he mentioned, talking about using the extradition and they acted properly and so on. Here it is. The AG of our country conceded that they acted contrary to the relevant law in bringing this man to Trinidad and Tobago. It continues, the effect of this concession in this matter and respect of the prosecution of the claimant is addressed below. And then they continue. So the first thing they say, they concede that it was contrary to law. You know, both the state, our country, is admitting to the court they acted unlawfully, that they acted contrary to proper extradition procedures. And that is the very first line of the document. And together with that, this document was prepared by our disgraced AG, Reginald Lymore. And he came to Parliament last week shamelessly, and he said the judge got it wrong. You are agreeing that they acted unlawfully, and yet you come in the Parliament to attack a sitting judge to say he got it wrong. Well, the only person getting it wrong morning, noon and night is the former AG Farris and the present AG Lymore. They're the ones getting it wrong. They admitted to the unlawfulness of the act. So we say, what a tangled web this PNM weaves when they set out to deceive. Why then is no one being held to account? How is it Rowley can say he doesn't know anything about this when this operation could not have happened without his knowledge? I would say today categorically, as a former Prime Minister, this could not have happened without the knowledge of the sitting Prime Minister at this time. Could not have happened. Could not have happened with the officials in the ministries. Could not have happened without their knowledge that some police officers from the TTPS will pick up themselves, go to Barbados, grab this man, handcuff him and so on, bring him on a CARICOM plane. RSS. We are not even part of the RSS agreement. How could this have happened without the intervention of high officials? Somebody lying, and it's not me. Somebody is lying, and it is not me. When we asked the question in Parliament, you know what Rowley said? Don't ask me nothing about Brent. Don't ask me nothing about no plane. Don't ask me nothing. I don't know nothing about that. You hear lie? That is lie. Don't ask him. So I took it upon myself, and I wrote to the Prime Minister of Barbados, who is an honorable lady. I asked for a full explanation. Give us an account, because our Prime Minister is telling us, don't ask me nothing. Don't ask me. And then Hines is saying what? He had an oral report. Are you guys serious? This is an international scandal. And the minister is telling us he had an oral report from Madam Erla, an oral report. So we move along. We move along. I've written to Mia Motley, and then who vexed lost, because when I saw what was happening about the RSS and the CARICOM, after I wrote Mia Motley, this weekend I wrote to the Secretary General of the CARICOM, because two CARICOM units are involved in this. Impacts, something called impacts. Of course, the plane, the RSS. So if these are involved, then CARICOM owes us some kind of explanation what went down and how it went down. So we have the two letters. Rodney was very good to defend. Listen, Rodney gave us some little law and his thinking, because he's a very distinguished international relations expert. Served at the UN as our representative for 5 years. So I believe what Rodney said. I totally believe what he told us. I don't believe the goodly professor that I was out of place. And if I am a citizen of this country and I cannot write to whom I want, then we don't have a democracy. We have a dictatorship. We can write anybody, anytime. any place anywhere. I think it was MP Dinesh Rambali at one of our presses. He said, any one of you pick up your pen and write to anybody. This is a free country. So I'm not afraid of you, Rowley. When you want to bark, I will not be afraid of your teeth, because your bark is just a growl. Placing everyone in this country into sufferation mode, that's all that you do. And we will not stand for your dictatorship. We will stand our ground, and we stand up for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We are a free democracy. This is not what is that place run in North Korea or somewhere, where you can't talk, no dog must bark, as they say. This is not North Korea. This is TNT, and we have a very free democracy. This matter involves the constitutional rights and freedoms of all of us, man, woman, child. Whether you're UNC, PNM, or any other little party there, whichever party you may belong to, it is about every one of us. And now we come to another fiasco waiting to happen. Our senators in the Senate last day, let's give them a round of applause, were brilliant. They want to have something called jury-less trials. That is a trial without a jury. You know, I am waiting patiently for Thursday. You know why? We fought this government, telling them it was illegal to pass that law to extend the life of the local government councils from 3 years to 4 years. What they did was wrong. Faris Guffey's chairman. You know Faris? Called him press conference, he was right and everything, great. I noticed recently, last day or two, he started backpedal. Does he know something we don't know? So we are waiting eagerly for Thursday at 11 a.m. when the Privy Council will rule on the local government matter. So they want to come now with this jury-less trial. They want to take away the right of citizens in this country to have an option to say, I want a jury trial. Why is that important to you? You say, well, I'm not going to do nothing bad, so I wouldn't end up in no court. I wouldn't have to worry about jury and judge and so on. No. Under this PNM, anything could happen. And this is a strike to the heart of our democracy and freedoms, fundamental rights in Trinidad and Tobago. They want to take away the right of an accused to opt for a jury trial. And how they want to do it? Through their simple majority, just as they did with extending the local government life for a year. Many reasons why we should keep that jury mode of trial. Our law has always been, it's in the preamble of our Constitution, that is the opportunity for the ordinary man and woman to participate in the criminal justice system. That's how you participate. You participate through the jury trial. So a person will be tried by their peers from amongst the people of the land. From the time of the Magna Carta, some of you historians will remember that well. I know Kirk may remember that well. That was 1100 years ago. 1100 years ago, Magna Carta, June 1215 the year. 1100 years ago. Any accused of a criminal offense has always been judged by his peers. That is by the people, always. That is by jury, by your peers. They understand the man in the street and his conditions of existence. The jurors come from the bowels of society. Thirdly, a judge sometimes is locked away in an ivory tower. I do not mean it with any disrespect, but they are isolated from the cut and thrust of everyday living, because that's part of their job. They cannot be seen to be fraternizing and liming, and they are in an isolated place. And so sometimes they're so far removed from day-to-day reality and their own psychosocial development and influence, they may come most times from an entrenched class. And that is why you have to be tried by ordinary men and women. Yes, the judge will be there, But that's where the jury trial is important. There may be some who will say a judge can be controlled or interfered with. But if you have a jury of 12 people, it's kind of real hard to interfere with those 12 people. You may be placing a judge's life in danger doing a serious criminal matter, and judge alone, you may harm that judge. But again, if you have 12 jurors, the possibility of harming all 12 of those jurors is further removed. I know Hines said something. Judges have criminals as their friends. Tonight, I want to totally reject and condemn that statement. That attack on the judiciary. And another point on this, why we need the jury trials for those who want them. There's a famous judge, Lord Devlin. He gave some lectures, and one of them was about trial by jury. The 8th series of what is known as the Hamlin Lectures that I quote from Lord Devlin. The object of any tyrant would be to overthrow or diminish the trial by jury, for it is a lamp that shows that freedom lives. Trial by jury is a lamp that shows that freedom lives. You take away the trial by jury, you are extinguishing that lamp. In the same way you kill the lights here in Pointe-a-Pierre at Petrotrin, he extinguished those lights, you will be extinguishing freedom. You keep that light burning in the jury trials, then freedom lives. And on top of all of that is not Kamala say and Wade Mark say and we say, the Criminal Bar Association, the Assembly of Southern Lawyers, the Law Association have all strenuously objected to removing the jury from these trials. So we go brave and we will challenge them in a court of law anytime, any place, anywhere, should they proceed with this juryless kind of trial that they want to bring. As I said, the UNC has good lawyers, and many of us have court clothes, so we are not afraid of the PNM and their dictatorial and tyrannical ways. And I cannot, pass along without talking about Mr. Farris this morning. This man really loves to hold press conferences. So this morning, busy. Farris's antics over the news about the Piarco cases in the US would be amusing if it is anything new was disclosed. Anything noteworthy or even newsworthy was disclosed in that press conference. Harare is known for his outrageous lies. What Harare should be addressing, however, is the fact that was under his tenure as AG. The PNM withdrew the civil corruption case against former Chairman Malcolm Jones. You remember that? $1.2 billion case. They withdrew it. They withdrew that case when they came into office because he's their friend. They withdrew the $35 million claim against former PNM board, ETEC, about the failed bamboo investment deal. Had the $1.2 billion case proceeded against Malcolm Jones, the loss suffered by Petrotrin because of the failed gas to liquids project, where the plant has to be eventually sold as scrap iron, that plant, that is what crippled Petrotrin and led to the closure of Petrotrin. That was one of the factors. Had Harare pursued that claim, there is no doubt that the public would have benefited from a $1 billion judgment, and Petrotrin would not be closed today with thousands on the breadline. Farris should also be speaking about his government's failure to appeal the AV drilling matter. They went against the advice of their own senior counsel and failed to appeal the AV drilling matter, again, millions of dollars. Then, even more troubling was a case against a fellow named Ashton Ford and some others, again another PNM friend. They filed no defense in that matter. When the case came up for trial in May 2019, no lawyers from the office of the AG attended court. And that's what happened, the case undefended. They won the case again, dollars to be paid, millions to be paid, taxpayers' dollars. I don't know if this is also one of the files that went missing. Remember, they paid $800,000 and more to track down a file they say was missing. and turns out it was never ever missing. So I don't know if this one, no defense. If it is, again, because it's their friends, and there are many others. $2.65 million cost and interest to Mr. Ford and a lady by the name of, another person by the name of Edwards. Mr. Ford is a former General Secretary of the PNM. And Mr. Edwards is a former mayor of Arima, controlled by the PNM. Their friends and their families did not pursue those cases. And Faris has an unmitigated goal to hold that press conference today to talk about the Piarco cases hibernated under the government island. Totally untrue. He contradicts himself. He so wants to lie and confound the matter when he said we hibernated the case. But in the next breath he said, hey, under the UNC, we got $18 million back in those cases. So how we hibernated the cases, but A.G. Ramlogan was able to get back $18 million up to that point in time. You hear lie again, that Faris are lying. Always lying to the public. Together with Rowley, they proudly announced the proclamation of the section in the law. Talked to you about it already for the local government. Al-Rawi's incompetence and lies will be exposed one by one. The chickens are coming home to roost, and his attempt to use this case, the Piarco case, as a comeback in the face of his well-known legal defeats is very transparent, very laughable. I think his place as the most incompetent AG, alongside Amo, is sealed in the annals of our political history and legal history in Trinidad and Tobago. So as I close tonight, I want to say, supporters, let us hold steadfast to our hope and unwavering belief that a brighter future awaits Trinidad and Tobago. Despite the challenges we face, let us remain, as Anita said, we must have hope and remain resolute in our commitment to fostering positive change, strengthening our institutions, and upholding the values which define our party. I want you to know that in preparation for any upcoming local government elections, we have reopened nominations. We received hundreds of nominations. Those are inside, and we'll begin screening very shortly. So be on alert. All those who have filed nominations, we are going to begin the screening as we head down the road to victory in the local government polls. Then, those of you, we got a lot of requests from people who said, please reopen nominations. We've done that from as of today, the 15th, to close next Monday, the 22nd, 4 p.m. So you pick up your forms at headquarters, any new ones. Deadline filing 4 p.m. next Monday. We all know, and I said it before, and I think we've been talking it between ourselves, amongst ourselves, that judgment due on Thursday in the Privy Council with respect to government's postponement of the local government elections. We are looking forward to it, and we are ready, whatever comes out of it. The Privy Council put out what they call a teaser in announcing the date to deliver the judgment. And the teaser has to do with the issue whether the incumbent local government practitioners, as councillors and aldermen, whether this law to go for 4 years applies to you or whether it does not. Our arguments have been it does not apply to the existing local government councillors and aldermen. So together we can overcome the adversities. We can build a nation where every citizen can thrive. Let our optimism be the fuel to propel us forward as we work to create a better, more inclusive, more prosperous Trinidad and Tobago. Our better days are on the horizon, and with our unwavering determination, we can make those better days a reality. I ask you, are you ready? Let us together march to a better future we can proudly call our own. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to stand your ground against this wicked PNM? Are you ready to stop toting feelings and come out and vote? Don't tote, vote. Do not tote, vote. You're vexed about crime? Don't tote, vote. crisis. Don't come out and vote. God bless you. God bless Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you very much.